8 minus 7 equals 1. Well, you don't have to write equals 1 though.
Okay.
8 minus 7 plus 3
plus 3
equals 4.
Okay.
And factorialize the 4.
Okay, so all like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then minus 4.
Square root.
Yeah, and then minus the square root of 4.
Wow. Fancy. Okay, so we got to 24 with that factorial of 4. Minus the square root of 4 is 2, which we've been practicing because 2 times 2 is 4. I like it. All right. Moving to our next thing. We're going to do a quick review of some of the things we've learned about triangles. And then I have an activity for you, a triangle challenge. First thing I would like you to do is draw these 3 triangles in your notebook. Okay? Label them just as I've labeled them. And your task is to put the height on each of these triangles. So show me where the height would go on each of these 3 triangles. Some might be more straightforward than others, but all of them have a height or an altitude. I want you to draw these 3 and add the height. Give you maybe a minute or 2, and then we'll review them
Do we
together.
have to have like the actual height or just show where the height would be?
Just show where the height would be. Yeah, you don't have to have a number for it. Just show where the height would be. Thank you for clarifying that.
Oh, you don't want us to.
You won't have a number value for the height. I just want you to show where you would measure the height.
Oh, okay.
Andy? Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll do the homework later. Or, right now, why don't you focus on what we're doing? It's good. I'll get a tricky one for you. Yeah. Yeah.
So mostly this is how people hear. I think this is what they hear. There's no, they don't understand. It's like
All right, I'm seeing lots of good stuff.
Yeah.
Can someone raise their hand and explain to me this first one? Where is the height? Where do we measure the height from? Luca?
Which one?
This first one on the left.
Alright, so a height is where you make like a right angle, or is like perpendicular to the base.
Okay.
So you would draw a dotted line from the base, and then as it meets the height, the top of the triangle, you go down.
So here's our
Dotted line.
here's our mountain peak.
And
We
then you
go
go down, and that's
Straight
the
down.
height.
And that would represent our height. I'm going to tell you in this case that height is 3. Okay, let's go to the next one. Can someone explain where I put the height on the next one? Tyler?
On the base, you do a dotted line from the center of the base.
The center, like the middle right here?
Isn't the base what?
No, the base.
Oh, here we go. This base, cool.
And then you straight up. I mean up for the base.
Okay, we're going to make a little note here. We talked about that little symbol meaning a right angle. Cool. And this one we kind of have to reorient in our mind to think of this as our mountain peak. That's like our base, and we want to know how tall that peak is. Not up the side, but like kind of straight up the middle. What about this one? Cool.
Well, you can always draw. So you would draw from like the base, the bottom. You
Yeah.
would draw straight down on that bottom line. The bottom line that you see is the height, but it's harder to see when it's under a line. So I usually I would go to the top of that, like the top of the peak from, if you're thinking the bottom is the base.
Draw straight down.
No, like if you think the bottom right now is the base, you would go to the top and draw over and then draw down.
Not what we did?
No, because it's harder to see the line. So like what you would do
Go up there, go up there.
is the base
Up
is
there.
here.
Come on up.
You
For this one, we'll clarify this.
like this, so you draw a line over, and then a line up, and then this right here would be it.
Oh, okay. So just kind of
Yeah.
tight right there.
Or it
Which
could
would
be
also
down low.
be here, right?
Yeah.
We can think about if we rotated this on its side, it would be a triangle like this, and 7, that'd be the base, and then 5 would be the height. Cool? Now that we have a base and height for each, I want you to calculate the area.
Okay.
What's the height for?
And I want you to calculate the area.
It's like a 4.
18 divided by 2.
Wait, to calculate the area of a triangle, you multiply the base by the height divided by 2, right?
Alright, should be relatively quick calculation for this one. If you're blanking at all, check in with your neighbor. There should be a pretty quick calculation for each of these.
Wait, what about the last one's hard?
What's up? Last one's hard?
You're supposed to calculate the area.
17 and a half, right?
How do you calculate the height?
No, see it's right there. It's 5.
Oh, he
Base
gave
is
it.
5 and
Oh, he doesn't. 5 times 4, 10, 17, divided by 2.
Ba-da-da-da. Try that again. Ba-da-da-da. Better. Alright, who can tell me the one all the way on the right? How do we calculate that one? Hunter?
So you know the height and the base. So you multiply those two together,
Yeah.
and that equals 35.
Okay.
And then to divide 35, we have to it's equal to a whole number. So you just.
Did I do that?
I did is I just chucked the numbers around it, like 16 times 2
Okay.
equals 32, and then 17 times 2 is 34. So then 17 and a half times 2
Cool. So we get 17 and a half. Awesome. We did base times height, and we divided by 2. What Cole did up here was awesome because he showed us base times height gives us the rectangle, but then we take away that piece, right? So we cut it in half, and that's our triangle. Awesome. How about this one, Birch? For the area. Want to phone a friend? See some hands raised around the room. Would you like to phone Birch?
Jonas?
Jonas, what do you got?
I got 10
How'd
because
you get it?
5 times 4 is 20. And then you divide that by 2 equals 10.
All right.
Oh. Okay.
Birch, can you repeat that and tell why did you do 5 times 4? And why did you divide it by 2?
Base times height.
So this is the base times the height divided in half because the base times the height gives us that corresponding rectangle and we want only half of the triangle. Awesome. Luca, last one.
Yay, 9. Because 3 times 6 equals 18. Divided by 2 equals 9.
Okay, very cool. You solid on that information? We gotta be solid on that information for this challenge I'm about to give you. Okay.
Yes, I'm solid.
So here's the challenge I'm going to give you. Let me see how I'm going to show you this. I'll show you a blank page here. What I'm going to give you guys, I'm going to give you a handout. Okay? I'm going to give you a piece of paper. One piece of paper for each desk group. So for each desk pair gets one sheet of paper. Okay? You will be getting a ruler. You will be getting a handout that's going to go over these instructions as well, and I'm going to show you what that looks like right here. So this is your triangle challenge. So it has these instructions right here that I'm going to walk through with you on the board, and I'm going to speak through them. But when you get your handout, if you missed any of it, for clarification, you can look at the steps 1 through 5 for this challenge. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to draw a horizontal line on your sheet. I'm going to show you what that looks like. We have, oh, we don't have them there. How about here? If this is your piece of paper, you're going to draw a horizontal line on your piece of paper like this. That's going to be 7 inches long. You're also going to label this line A, B. Alright, then I'm going to provide you with a 6-inch popsicle stick. Okay? The first line you drew represents side 1 of a triangle. The popsicle stick represents side 2. You're going to take the popsicle stick. One end of the popsicle stick is always going to match up with point B. The other end is going to be our point C. So you're going to put your popsicle stick on your paper like this. Okay? And you might mark right there. Okay, that's point C. That was my popsicle stick. So this length of this side, since I measure with the popsicle stick every time, it's going to be 6 inches. Okay? Then you're going to close that triangle. Little did you know, you just made a triangle right there. Cool? Now with a ruler, you have a base that's always going to be 7. You can measure the height, and you should be able to calculate the area of that triangle. Cool, so I've provided you, let's go back to the sheet here. Wrong one, that one. Cool. So I've provided you a sheet here that simply says your base is always 7. Your base is always 7, we'll get to that. You're going to record the triangle height, and you're just measuring it. So you have a ruler, you're just measuring it. And then you're going to calculate the area. You're going to do this 10 times. You're going to create 10 different triangles on here. Okay? And your goal is to find the triangle with the biggest area. Okay? So using those two sides, you always have a base of 7. Your second side is always the popsicle stick. Okay? And then you close the triangle, measure the height, calculate the area. Your goal is to find the triangle with the biggest area, and I want you to see if you can come up with any idea for what's the smallest third side you can make and what's the biggest third side you can make. Okay, so those two tasks. 1, find the biggest area. In doing that, try and make some conclusions about, well, what's the smallest length I can have for that third side? If I put the popsicle stick on here, what's the smallest I can get, and then what's the biggest I can get?
I have it.
Okay?
Wait, do we have to?
Does that make sense?
Yeah. When you multiply, do we have to use the side on the popsicle stick, or can you use the long side? Like,
So when you're calculating your area, right, it's going to be easy to always use that as your base. Okay? Because you might put the popsicle stick over here and then create a triangle there, but you always have a base here, and you can always measure the height. Okay, so on the table, the base is always 7, and you're going to measure the height.
the height. Oh, I see.
Any other questions before I pass out some materials and we get to investigating?
Wait.
Elliot?
Who are our partners?
You're going to be working at your table group, so the two of you. Actually, we'll do a Johnny and Cole, and then Luca and Elliot can work. You two, and you.
Wait, so
Satan, question?
since we'll be drawing the side
Yep. No, because you can draw side 3, and then you can draw another triangle over it, so it'll look like this. And then you can draw, another triangle here.
The third.
Hey.
You can keep drawing as many as you want. Yes. You can draw on 6. Hold on 1 sec. Joseph? Is that becoming a distraction? Or is that a fidget toy?
Why do you have all that ice?
Here's what I need. Birch, I would like you to pass each table group one popsicle stick.